Is life so dear, or peace so sweet, as to be purchased at the price of chains and slavery? Forbid it, Almighty God. I know not what course others may take, but as for me, give me liberty or give me death. These words, uttered by Patrick Henry on March 23, 1775, at St. John's Church in Richmond, Virginia, are credited with convincing the Virginia legislature to send troops to fight in the Revolutionary War. They are a milestone in the establishment of our nation. Patrick Henry was able to muster the words that helped him to communicate important ideas that made the difference for our freedom and for the very foundation of much that is under attack today. Do you have a voice that can help preserve or reestablish our freedoms? Do you feel comfortable discussing ideas of how a proper government should be established? Can you be a founding father for the coming generations, or will you watch idly while the foundations of civilization are being destroyed? We hold these truths to be self-evident, that all men are created equal, that they are endowed by their Creator with certain unalienable rights, that among these are life, liberty, and the pursuit of happiness. These words, written by Thomas Jefferson, established the fundamental direction for the Constitution. This declaration was more than the establishment of a nation. It established universal principles that inspired millions of people around the world to strive for lives of freedom and self-determination. These words were like a shout aimed at every monarch and dictator everywhere that said, men now know they can live better lives if they are free from the interference of government. If you want to save our republic, you need to find your voice. You need to communicate the ideas that make a difference. Not ideas that have lost, but new ideas that have been around for hundreds of years, but have been barely understood. These are the ideas that created our republic. They are the ideas of freedom. How did we create this republic, and what are the principles that convinced people to try our bold new experiment in government? Do you know? I think it goes without saying that we need people with the same Enlightenment philosophy that our founders had. People who disagree with the collectivist approach to government that is dominant today and is responsible for our present economic disasters. More than this, we need modern-day pamphleteers. With changes in technology and the advent of the Internet, a new force has come to the fore. Partly a response of independent thinkers to the dominance of the far-left ideology in our media, the citizen reporter has arisen. The citizen reporter is someone with a different perspective on the news, who wants to communicate that perspective. He is independent and doesn't like being told what to think by the media. He challenges the prevailing wisdom, and he truly talks to power. He uses his writing skills and his camera skills to cover and comment upon local and national issues, and he publishes his opinion on the Internet, on blogs, as well as on YouTube. During the American Revolution, he might have been a pamphleteer or a Paul Revere. Today, he is a tech-savvy American who does not shy away from expressing truth. The citizen reporter is the American Revolution's equivalent to the pamphleteer and soapbox speaker, who motivated through his rhetoric and strong positions, who got people thinking and criticizing the powers that be. The new citizen reporter is found on blogs and video posting sites. He is becoming more influential as he expands his horizon into radio, television, and newspapers. He is what the American public has been seeking, an independent opinion maker who speaks to power and generates critical thinking, the real agent of change. I like the idea of the citizen reporter. Today, pamphleteering has been replaced by blogging, which means that great writing skills are as important now as they were in the times of Thomas Paine. In order to move millions of people, you must present your ideas to millions of people. I've said before that I think the productive American is the most important person in our society. Doesn't it make sense that his opinion is important too? We must find our voices, find the words, the ideas, and the arguments that convince people that we are right about the protections of the Constitution, that the principles enshrined in the Constitution are more than just old, outdated ideas, that they are not discredited, but are in fact misunderstood or not understood at all. To become a citizen reporter, you have to educate yourself. You have to read and expose yourself to the best ideas and the strongest arguments. Have you noticed that many of today's talking heads have improved their arguments lately? People like Glenn Beck and others have followed Rick Santelli's suggestions. You may not know that the Tea Parties were suggested by Rick Santelli, who is a financial analyst for CNBC. In a report that he gave on the economy from the Chicago trading floor, he riled up other analysts by complaining that we were turning our society towards socialism. He then started a rant that became a viral YouTube video seen by millions around the world. In that same rant, he suggested that people read Atlas Shrugged by Ayn Rand, because it has predicted all the bad economic results of too much government interference that we are seeing today. Then he suggested the Tea Party protests. Atlas Shrugged was written in the 1950s and expresses Ayn Rand's philosophy of life, which holds that the most important person in society, the individual, should be free to function and live without government interference. The society she portrays in the novel is one that is fast moving toward fascism, where well-placed businessmen use the government to exploit the most productive in society, as well as protect their own non-productive businesses against competition by means of government corruption. The novel is a banner cry for freedom. In addition, Ayn Rand wrote extensively on cultural and economic issues in her newsletters. Many of the articles she wrote on economics were compiled into books like Capitalism, the Unknown Ideal, which has some of the most powerful arguments for freedom and free markets. A more current book, The Capitalist Manifesto, written by Andrew Bernstein, is an impassioned cry for capitalism. The basic tenet of this book is that the proposition that capitalism is the superior system is provable. We have enough information now with the history of socialism to know that capitalism is the superior system, and Bernstein proves the case. Economics in One Lesson is a common sense and easy to read book by Henry Hazlitt. Henry Hazlitt was a journalist throughout the 30s and 40s, and many of his articles were compiled into the book Economics in One Lesson during the 70s. The basic tenet of this book, which can be read in a couple of hours, is that you can't have your cake and eat it too. In fact, you'd think that this book was written with Obama's administration in mind. He argues in chapter after chapter that virtually every step that the Obama administration is taking today was wrong and why it was wrong.